Okay, I'm not here to change people's minds. That's pretty much impossible, especially when you're trying to change people's minds you don't even know. So I'm not here to do that. Instead, I'm here to provide information. And for those of you who aren't too sure whether or not you will like this or won't like this, hopefully this video will help you decide whether or not this is a good or a bad thing. So there is that, and I'm not here, like I said, to change anyone's minds. Everything I say is just my opinion. Hey guys, Clone Guy here, and something exciting is happening. Maybe. Alright, maybe, and I'll let you know why maybe in a second. +1, -1 matchmaking is coming. What does this mean? Well, this means that you will no longer fight tier 6s in your tier 4s. You will no longer fight tier 10s in your tier 8s. You won't fight tier 5s in your tier 3s. You won't fight tier 9s in your tier 7s, and so on and so forth. But this also goes the other way. This means you will no longer fight tier 8s in your tier 10s. You no longer fight tier 6s in your tier 8s, and so on and so forth. So this is overall a very good thing. It balances out the tanks even more, because now absolutions will not be insanely overpowered as much. Granted, they won't have to fight 8s, but at the same time, they will no longer be able to pick on poor old tier 4s, which is, like I said, good. So that's pretty cool. And this guy brings up an interesting point, which is a great point. Nice. Wonder what will this mean for preferential matchmaking tanks in the future. This is also true. What's special about a preferential matchmaking premium tank is it never has to fight a tank 2 tiers higher than itself, which also means it's not quite as good as the normal tech tree tanks. So they won't be that good for this week. There's going to be, this event is only going to last a week. It's going to go from the 2nd of July until I think it was the 7th or the 9th. I think it was the 9th. Maybe it was the 7th of July. If we take a look here, I guess we can just go. I don't think it was the 9th. I think it was the 7th. But I could be wrong. Regardless, come and join for that week, starting on the 2nd. Come, and I will tell you why you need to come and join. The reason you need to come and join and play during that week is because if this is a success, they will implement it permanently. And we have people who do not like this. Let's see. Like this. Like, really? I like +2, -2. I hope it doesn't become permanent. Somebody watches too much Quickie Baby. Alright, here's the deal. When Quickie Baby was talking about +1, -1, I think about a year back, he was saying this wouldn't be good for the game because then there's not enough variety and all this other stuff. What? What? Like, no. +1, -1 will be good for the game, guys. There's plenty of variety. Don't let people tell you otherwise. People who say they like the challenge are just being dumb and ignorant, alright? It's simple as that. They just like to say, oh, I like the challenge. No, you don't really like the challenge. You just like saying that. Because every once in a while, you have a good game at being bottom tier. You're like, yes, that was great. But then, more often than not, you're getting destroyed. How many of you guys actually play the game to be bottom tier? You're like, oh, I'm going to go play World of Tanks. I hope I'm bottom tier a lot. No, you don't. Nobody does. Really think about it. If you're the kind of person who is really upset that they might be removing +2, -2, ask yourself, do you play this game to be bottom tier? The only way I'd be cool with this is if they nerfed every non-pref matchmaking tank in the game to pref matchmaking levels. This guy must be a developer because that's an awful idea. No, just buff every pref matchmaking tank to be at the same level as every non-pref matchmaking tank. There you go. Okay, well, you're dumb. Very classy, says. So, does Lycan only ever see tier 8 battles? For a game that is balanced around +2, -2, this is a terrible idea. Now, wait a minute. The game is not balanced around +2, -2. Tell that to a Tiger 2 facing down a Death Star. Tell that to a T-44 facing down an Object 430U. Tell that to a Comet fighting up against a Type 4 Heavy. The game is not balanced around +2, -2. The game is balanced around same tier. Same tiers are supposed to go up against same tiers and be able to defeat same tiers. Meanwhile, higher tiers are supposed to be able to stomp on lower tiers. This game is not balanced around +2, -2. They never gave a thought in the world about tanks lower. If they're going to balance a Comet against a T-20, they do not care about the Centurion 7-1. If the Centurion 7-1 is tier 9, they're not going to be like, oh my goodness, the Centurion 7-1 is too good because of the Comet. We have to nerf the 7-1. No, 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 no. It goes like this. Oh my goodness, the Centurion 7-1 is too good against the T-54. We have to nerf the Centurion 7-1. But that's not the case. So this is wrong. Big Hundy. Be careful what you wish for. Can't wait to see the complaints about how already OP tanks are when only facing +1. This is a mistake in my opinion. Once again, people do not think things through. They like to just type things. And this is how you know when you've got a tomato or you've got somebody who's actually intelligent. And this is, well, not that intelligent. And this is why. What makes an overpowered tank overpowered? Typically, it's overpowered at its own tier, meaning when it fights, let's take the Absolution for instance real quick. An Absolution, when it fights, let's see, a Cromwell, or an M6, or an OI, or a Chi-Ri, that thing destroys them. But now, think about when it fights tier 4s. M3 Lees, Matildas, Looks, Panzer 38 NAs. Think about that real quick. That makes it way OP. It's already OP at its own tier, but then you have to fight tier 4s? Now, think about +1, -1. That means if you are bottom tier, you will not be fighting tier 5s. This means either you will be fighting tier 6s and 5s, or you'll be fighting tier 6s and 7s, which is good. Because if you're fighting tanks that are higher tier than you, you will not be fighting tanks that are lower tier than you. And that will not actually help the tank like the Absolution. That will actually almost nerf it because you won't be able to feast on lower tier tanks unless you are top tier. Meanwhile, let's say it's +2 or -2 matchmaking. I hope I'm making this clear. If it's +2, -2 matchmaking, and you find yourself in a tier 7 game, you still get to trounce on tier 5s because tier 7 matchmaking is tier 5, 6, 7. So, you see, with +2, -2, 66% of the time, you're fighting lower tier tanks. But with +1, -1, only 50% of the time are you fighting lower tier tanks. You see what I'm saying? So this will actually not make the Absolution seem better. Here's a great point by Caboose. Didn't Wargaming say the next update was going to be a major tank rebalance? Maybe they're setting this up as a permanent thing. So I think what he means by that is the fact that if they introduce +1, -1, some tanks will be out of balance. Yes, especially the pref matchmaking tanks. So maybe when they mean this major tank rebalance, they mean all the preferential matchmaking tanks. That would be cool. That would be really cool. So that might be a thing. Steampunk Pagan says, hello. I know it's just a test, but I like the concept. This is a game, and games should be fun. +1, -1 may return the fun to the game. Yes. He makes a really, really good point. I think what he's going with is the fact that this is something new. Like, this game is kind of becoming almost stale in a way, where they're just introducing reskins, and oh, there's another reskin you can go buy. Some of them are good, some of them aren't good. Oh, they're introducing a new tank line, and oh, it's not very good because they nerfed it to oblivion. May as well just grind out the IS-7 or the T-110E5, the old classic tanks, because they're all better than the newer tanks. Why play the newer tanks? So I see what he's saying here, where this might make the game fun because it's something new added to the game, and that is true. This is going to be something new. It's going to add a new spin to the game. So yes, another reason why this is a good idea. This guy makes a really good point. This is actually a great point. Yes, but a potato that is top tier will last, or will at least survive a bit longer, giving others more time to carry them. Matches are already over in 4 minutes at the moment. He's absolutely right. Let's pretend you find yourself in your bottom tier. You're playing a Tiger 2 and you find yourself in a tier 10 game. Your tier 10s, you have 5 tier 10s on your team, and not one of them has over 50% win rate. Meanwhile, there are 5 tier 10s on the enemy team, and every single one of them has a 50% win rate or higher. You're not going to carry very much in your Tiger 2 in a tier 10 game, and it's going to really rely on your tomatoes at tier 10, who are going to lose, and then you're going to find yourself in a game where your team gets 2 kills and the enemy team gets 15. And it's a 4-minute sweep, which we get a ton of. The +1, -1 will make it so that you will not have to have those 10s on your team. Instead, you'll have tomatoes at tier 9 while you're in your Tiger 2. But the Tiger 2 will have a better ability to carry your tomatoes, being 1 tier lower, not 2 tiers lower. So this should make the games last longer, and you won't be dependent on your top tiers as much. Now, good players will be able to carry the games harder. They will be more fitted to carrying their games because they don't have to rely on their top tiers as much. How often have you seen, guys, 1 tier 8 in a tier 10 game? I see that all the time. That will no longer be happening. So this is a good thing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But what if this doesn't happen? You're like, what do you mean? You just announced it and it's in the forums. Well, yes. In fact, it used to be a news article. But when you click on it, it's gone. There's no page. This doesn't exist anymore. In fact, they used to have a post here on their YouTube channel, right here, which talked about it, but it's not there anymore. And if we go to the news, it's not here either. Where did it go? Did they change their mind? Did they post this just for an hour and then change their mind? Did they release it too early? I don't know. My guess is, seeing how it's wargaming, they didn't mean to tell us anything a week in advance, because not even a week in advance, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in advance, because it's wargaming console. You cannot know anything until the day it happens. All right. So I am telling you guys now. Don't play War Thunder for a week. Don't play Warships for a week. Come play World of Tanks for a week. Try it out. Try the +1, -1. See how you like it. I guarantee 90% of you will like it more, and the 10%, well, you guys can go play with the snowflakes outside. This is going to be good. If this test works, they will implement it permanently. I remember when they were testing the +1, -1 over on Blitz. And I remember playing in that, and it was great fun. They tested it for a long time, like 2 months, I think it was. And then after the test was done, they implemented it almost immediately because it had such a good success. Let's do that here, guys. Don't play, but just come back and play a little bit. Try it out. And another thing that is not mentioned because you cannot see here, I read the full article. This is not going to be a separate matchmaker. Like, oh no, it's not going to be a separate matchmaker. No. It counts as live battles. There will not be a separate matchmaker. You just queue up in a regular game, and it will be +1, -1 for a week. Okay? That's just how it is. And you can complain all you want, but don't. Alright? If this is, like I said, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This really is a good thing. This is what most people wanted. And those of you who don't want it, you just go watch Quickie Baby for a little while, okay? Get out of here. We don't need your kind. Anyway, that's the video. That's the news. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm sorry there's no article. They literally took it down as I was recording this, because I was literally on the page. Then I set everything up, and then the page was gone. I was like, what? Where'd it go? So, there's that. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope you guys are excited as I am. I certainly am excited for this. And like I said, my guess is they took it down because they released the information a little bit too early, because remember, Wargaming doesn't like telling you things until literally the same day. But don't worry, it'll come. It'll come. I'll see you guys all later. Take care, everyone. And peace out.